Welcome to Know Your Fundamentals. I'm Kelly Berthold, licensed clinical social worker, wellness educator, and coach. Join me as I connect the foundational science of mental health, emotional intelligence, and human flourishing with real-life practical tools you can apply in your relationships, leadership, career, and personal growth. Each episode blends research-backed insights with lessons drawn from the unique experiences of our remarkable neighbors, uncovering patterns that build resilience, strengthen connection, and elevate well-being. You're the expert on your life, and I'm here to help you build the foundation so you can truly thrive your way. Let's get started. Hi, welcome today to the Know Your Fundamentals podcast. Today we're excited to welcome Charlotte Chaz Worthington, Olympic gold medalist, BMX freestyle athlete, and a member of the Order of the British Empire. As a gold medalist at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, Chaz made history as the first woman to land a 360-degree backflip in BMX freestyle. In recognition of her exceptional contributions to the sport, she was appointed member of the Order of the British Empire in 2022 by His Royal Highness Prince William. So today in this episode, Chaz will share her personal story of the highs and lows she's experienced in her Olympic journey and how she rebuilt herself both mentally and emotionally. She'll dive into why mental health and living true to yourself are crucial for overcoming challenges both in sport and in life. So welcome today, Chaz. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me on Fundamentals, Kelly. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've had the, great fortune to get to know you in the community a little bit. I know locally in Happy Valley. You've been here for now, 8, 9 months? I think you said about in early fall
I
or
think
last summer.
probably 6 or 7 at this point. But yeah,
Okay.
it's been awesome trying to get myself out there in the community. It's very new living in a small, very friendly, welcoming town. It's really amazing. I'm very lucky to be a part of State College, and yeah, stoked to meet people like yourself.
Well, I think what's really amazing is that this small community with Penn State University being local, we have so many people that are doing amazing things. And I think a part of my goal of the work of this podcast is that there's extraordinary living in ordinary life. And so we may be going about, State College is a small area. It's a very small community. But being able to connect with people and you're seeing a cow on the side of the road and by a dairy farm, and you're around a lot of different individuals that are traveling the world or helping other people or expanding what the body is even capable of doing, in BMX from going to the Olympics. So I think being able to bring things down to earth to understanding how our day-to-day lives, even with individuals such as yourself going to the Olympics and succeeding at the pinnacle of success in these kind of ways, how we can bring it back down to earth, that the struggles that you have gone through, the tribulations, physical, mental, and emotional and social experiences that you've had are things that we all have experienced. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're doing right now?
Yeah, totally agree with what you're saying. State College it's a very forward-thinking university town, and I'm very very lucky and very grateful to be a part of it. And I do find it, like you say, it's amazing that there's people who are widely traveled at the university. And you'll turn around, there's a dairy farm, and you're also 100 feet away from a 110-seater, 1,000 stadium. So it's a very unique place, and it's somewhere that's been held close to my heart. And I wanted to move out here before I'd finished my BMX career, because it's being an athlete is very short-lived. And for where I'm at right now, I've been to 2 Olympics. I've been to Tokyo, and then I also went to Paris 2024 and had 2 very, very drastically different experiences. The first was it had its struggles and its things I overcame, but it was almost perfect, and it was kind of all worth it in the end. And then Paris felt honestly like a real slog to get there in the last kind of year, the last kind of year or two. And that was due to my experience post Tokyo and at that time in between, I kind of made a lot of mistakes, with best intentions, of course. Like I always thought, I thought I was doing the right noble thing always, but it kind of turned into a much more unhealthy relationship with my sport and some of the people that I worked with, and massively with myself. After that, I think it all changed a lot to a lot of expectations and pleasing other people and kind of worrying about results and externals. Whereas I think pre Tokyo was just a lot more, it felt like such a stab in the dark and this huge dream. I was prepared to walk away with absolutely nothing on that day, which, if you watch the competition, you can see I almost do. But that's kind of part of the beauty in it. And that's also what frees you up so much on that journey. Where I'm at today, I wanted to move to State College and be near Camp Woodward. They've been kind enough to open the doors and let me ride and train there because there's always been something special about this area. Camp Woodward makes me feel like a teenager again, and it really helps remind me why I love my sport, and that's where I'm at right now. So I'm a bit of a crossroads, honestly, between do I carry on down the Olympic route and look for LA 2028? Like age wise would be fine. I'd be 32 come the date, which is like it's perfectly within range, but it's whether it's something I want to do. And having seen two drastically different sides of the coin, it's a tough decision to make right now.
Yeah, yeah. So just living in life right now and just being able to be present in the day to day. It sounds like your mind's trying to see where you're kind of fitting the puzzle pieces right now. They're not necessarily aligned, but you're kind of like thinking about like, am I going to make this move or do these
Yeah,
things fit
totally.
well together?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a crossroads. There's a big chunk of time between now and LA, so when it really comes to crunch time, I think if you were to make that decision to be all in, it would be more around 2026, 27. So there's a big gap of time, and I knew coming out of Paris that if I wanted to carry on, that I had to be all in because Paris, I think I was 50 or something. I wasn't all in, and I could feel it. And going to the Olympics is it's difficult, like physically, mentally. It's difficult on your support team around you, like your circle of people. They're there supporting you through it, and the highs are really high, and the lows can be really low. So it's yeah, I'm kind of I'm in a place where I'm starting to think. I wonder what other ventures could be out there now that we're in a new area, a new community. I've learned what I've learned, and you think like what else could be out there, and does that excite me more than the thought of kind of staying? Is it the same old, same old? Is it my mindset? Could I be stronger in my mindset to do it more my way? And is it just perspective? Like they're all really big questions to ask, and there's never going to be a simple answer. You're just going to have to pick one and believe that it's going to be the right one, honestly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So prior to me like working in mental health, and I'm probably close to 10 years, maybe 8 years or so older than you, but around 24, I left my dream industry of working in the film industry, which I was working in, and I loved it. But I felt so like there was something missing, and I felt so insecure, and I couldn't figure out why. And I spent a lot of money and went back to school for a long period of time, not to get therapy, but to become a therapist so I can understand it. And I'm so glad that I do now. And I can also reflect back on like, wow, there's so much of that industry and the creativity that it's like, I love it so much. And now how can I make it a part? And even this podcast, how can I make it a part of still of my life, even though it's different now? And I felt like I was making the best choice at that time. But maybe if I felt more secure in my mental health, or I felt more secure in how I was navigating my social relationships, maybe things would have changed. Maybe things would have been different. And I was 24, I think, almost 25 whenever I was making those decisions. So I
That's
think,
super interesting.
yeah, but like just kind of like understanding and like empathizing that we go through these journeys, even when it's like, how could someone be contemplating? It's like they're in something that's so meaningful to them, and why would they even contemplate doing anything else? It's because it's complicated. it's complicated. There
True.
isn't an easy answer, you know?
I mean, it feels like the thought of kind of leaving or explaining it to someone else, like, hey, I've got an Olympic gold medal, I've been to 2 Olympics, I have the opportunity to carry on down that same road and try it going to 3 Olympics and maybe win another gold medal. I feel like to your average Joe or something, that sounds like the best, most incredible opportunity ever. Why the hell would you turn that down? It's like you turn down a big promotion. But
Yeah.
that's kind of like where you make the decisions to live true to your heart and things that are really important to you, or think honestly things that kind of excite you. Like when
Mhm.
the first cycle round of Tokyo, I had no ambition of winning a gold medal. Like when it all kind of fell into place and it was all perfect timing, if you will, it's the right place, right time. And the goal started so small. I just wanted to ride my bike for a living. I was working full time in a kitchen and the opportunity came. And again, it was a bit like following my heart. Like, yeah, I just want to, I'll go to like a tryouts. Worst case scenario, I get a week off work and I go to North Carolina to ride my bike for a week. And as it happened, like I ended up getting the opportunity and it just grew very slowly. Then it's like, maybe I could go to an international competition. Okay, I did that. Maybe I could like make top 10. Maybe I could make top four. And it kind of just, the goals were small, but then it kind of grew really quickly. Um, and like at 2 years into it, we had the opportunity to qualify for Tokyo, which I had to place third or above in a world championships, and I managed to place third. That was just before COVID. So it was like every goal just gradually got ticked off, and there's like, okay, we're going to the Olympics. Okay, maybe we could do well at the Olympics. Okay, maybe we could actually make podium at the Olympics. And then as you kind of, as I was developing and learning tricks, it was like, well, why don't we just shit or bust and go for gold? And there was no other attachment to it like that. And that's when it's super organic and it really comes from the heart. And then, yeah, the latter experience just didn't feel like it was coming from the same place. And yeah, to your average Joe, you think, oh, you have that opportunity, but I guess maybe it's a healthy relationship with ego or your personal self to be able to be a bit more objective about it and follow what you want to do instead of what, you should feel like you should do.
Yeah, the pressures of should,
Mhm.
expectations really are such a cloud, and it's a detachment even from like authenticity and self-trust. So it's like, how can I even see clearly what the options are really in front of me when I feel like I'm just thinking so much about other people judging me for what
Yep.
they think I should do?
Yep.
And it's like, I just need the clarity for myself just to like consider it. Pulling back from like these experiences and maybe like now talking about your love of what you do. Can you explore a little bit about you started competing in BMX? It was around 2018. How long have you been in BMX, or can you take us back to where it was that you became aware of like your interest in doing what you do? And I want you to describe what it is that you do in that space. I don't want to just like limit it to BMX.
Yeah. I mean, totally, totally right to do that because I would call it kind of, I guess, action sports or extreme sports. I kind of first became aware of action sports through my older brother. He used to do a lot of skateboarding and was really interested in that California surf skate scene. Um, and I just thought that was like so cool. And I always I liked looking at like Bart Simpson and cartoons where people are doing extreme tricks on a skateboard. As a kid, I did trampolining. So I did a couple competitions doing that. And it was mainly because I had too much energy and I broke my bed from jumping on it. So my parents put two and two together and sent me to trampolining lessons, which was good of them. Um, so I'd always like kind of known, I always loved sport ever since being a kid. I was never one for team sports. I liked just being active. I'd go and play kick a ball on my own, do soccer on my own. And I think I must have been about 12. I went to a skate park, and it was the first time I ever saw anyone at a skate park doing anything. And it was some teenagers, and they were riding. stunt scooters, which at the time they were definitely not cool, but I loved my push scooter at the time as a 12-year-old. And that's when I kind of put it all together, was like, wow, I've never seen anyone ride a stunt scooter like that before and do tricks on it. I want to try and do that because I think that's so cool. And that's when my kind of love for action sports and just riding ramps and transitions really happened. So I rode scooters from the age of 12 till the age of 20. So I kind of had like a little bit of a career there. I had a couple, like I had a brand that supported me and did a lot of traveling around the UK and did get really good. And it was when I was 18, I got like a full-time job after college. I didn't go to university. I just went to college to study photography and videography. So all really, I was basically sport and creativity. Like I loved that. They were my two things. I started working full-time in a kitchen, and kind of over the next 2 years, I was having less and less time to do my hobby of riding scooters and kind of falling a little bit out of love with it and feeling a little bit overgrown for it. And I just thought it's not as fun doing it. And I'd kind of achieved all I wanted to achieve with it. And I wanted something new. I wanted a new challenge, but there was still in that space, like still in the skate park. So I had a BMX bike and I could do some basics on it. And the two sports are very similar. If you can do one, you can probably do a bit of the other. So that's when I picked that up and kind of fell in love with it all over again, because then even the simplest tricks were brand new, and it was really fun to just learn again. And it kind of, as I said, I started competing in 2018. So it was a year later that a series of events then kind of led me down the Olympic path. So it happened very quickly with the BMXing. Um, yeah, it kind of led to going to a competition, then being on a TV show, someone giving me a phone number, and then it kind of went from there. That went down that path, but that's how I got into extreme sports. And to expand to say what I love about it, you kind of listed a bunch of them. And when I got disconnected from why I loved it, I really stripped it back to what do I love about it, and I definitely came to I love the creativity with it. I love learning. I love getting lost in the process and just hitting something on repeat again and again until I can do it. I love a challenge to overcome. And I also love the social and adventurous aspect of it. Like I love making friends and riding with new people, thinking of different ways to ride a bike together and traveling to different skate parks. Because that's exactly what I did, riding my scooter. And so I guess it's what I've done now for close to like 15, 16 years.
Meeting so many like-minded individuals that have similar levels of curiosity and playfulness and creativity, and feeling like you can be, even maybe with like the decrease in like the expectation of competition, it becomes just more fun. And then what happens in the development of even doing challenging things, when you enjoy it, it's like, well, you end up actually having like exponential growth in those things, because your body just feels like it can naturally, organically just be able to just move like muscle memory into like that next space and trust yourself to just be there in that moment to whatever that next thing is, and trusting your expertise in that space. So where was it that you found it maybe started getting a little bit more convoluted, that this is all feeling really, really great and getting swept up? It sounds a little bit like started doing really well, and then the pressure started creeping in with expectations of you should do this next thing, you should do the next thing, and it's like, okay, well, this is fun, and what do I got to lose? And here I go, just going and doing these things. Is that kind of your experience that you're describing here?
I think so, but it wasn't really that there was any pressure in the beginning to that there
Hmm.
was no pressure. Like being on the Olympic team when they first announced it wasn't the cool thing to do. It's like as BMXers we're pretty rebellious and will probably rebel against the authorities. So I was kind of more excited to like get paid to ride my bike essentially. And in the beginning, because it was so new, British cycling is a huge federation that's been extremely successful in Olympics. And in the early days, we were kind of the ugly ducklings of the program. We didn't have really much medal hopefulness. And they didn't know what to do with us. They didn't understand the sport. So they kind of gave us a paycheck, asked us to wear the jersey. And it was a bit like, okay, you're kind of on your way, like do something with it. And I loved that. I had so much freedom and I was just on a quest to like better myself. And if there was a chance that I could even go to the Olympics, I was just, wow, how amazing that would that be? I just wanted to like I put everything into it, like totally everything into it, which was awesome. The timing was just right for me to do that. I think the only time it switched for me was post Tokyo, and that's because immediately there's expectation. You achieve this insanely high goal that you thought was impossible, and then you suddenly just raise the bar to another level. And then it kind of immediately, almost as soon as I got back to training, because I took a couple months to go be a celebrity and say yes to absolutely everything. And I also had shoulder surgery because I had a lot of trouble with my shoulder. So as soon as I kind of got back, I do remember distinctly feeling like, hang on a minute, I've kind of got to do that all over again. And it wasn't easy. It was really hard and difficult. Like I dislocated my shoulder like 4 times prior to the games. And when you go through like a lot, like you go through a lot of growth and it's really difficult. But obviously when you come out the other end and if you get the payoff, you're like, oh, it's all worth it. So it was really post Tokyo that I made the mistakes of kind of riding then to meet other people's expectations, to kind of tick boxes within the federation. And it all comes down to expectations and like kind of fear of judgment and keeping certain people happy. Just, I kind of didn't realize that at the time. I just kind of went, oh, well, this is my job now and it's what I do. And I also tried to like treat every competition like it was the Olympics because I was fired up and I was like, I know I did what I did at the Olympics and I still have more to give. There's more tricks that I can do. And I wanted to like prove that I wasn't a one hit wonder was like one of my goals. So I went out there swinging like hard. BMX is a brutal sport. And I feel like if you're not coming from the right place and then not kind of making the right decisions, it will expose you in very physically and emotionally painful ways. Like you're going to crash. And if you crash on a BMX bike, you might be falling like from 10 feet out of the air straight to the floor like on your bike. And that happened various times post Tokyo. And I think it's because I was trying to really ride and out of my like comfort zone too much because I thought that's what was expected. And I was just piling on so much pressure and stress, saying I have to do this, I have to hit these targets. And then if I didn't, like I didn't have a good relationship with my coach post games, like we kind of just had different visions, I think, but we didn't realize it. So the way we were working together wasn't good. And I think it was the Olympics was in 2021. I competed throughout 2022. I didn't do my worst riding. Like I still made some really big achievements, but I kind of was getting really emotionally beat up as well as like with every physical hit, I was getting emotionally beat up because I was so hard on myself, and various other things like other people were hard on me too. And yeah, I was just super unhealthy relationship with myself and with the bike. So then when it came to like spring of 23, I hit like quite an emotional sort of breakdown, call it burnout or a nervous breakdown. I just hit this point. There was like a little injury that just, it was my breaking point. It tipped me over the edge and I couldn't come back because I was in this cycle of getting injured at a competition, having a crap time, emotionally beating myself up about it, feeling really depressed about it, and then rush in to try and get ready and meet expectations at the next competition. I say I got this little injury. I suddenly felt like, oh my God, I have to do these certain tricks to make the next competition. But I just couldn't do them. I took some time off for the injury. I tried to come back and I got all these mental blocks. The tricks that I've been doing for years, I was going up the ramp and the gymnastics, they call it the twisties. I was going up the ramp and I couldn't even visualize myself doing the trick. I was just getting like filled with fear, losing control of my emotions, like crying over nothing I should be crying about, but just completely lost control of my emotions. And yeah, that was like my lowest point, an absolute breaking point for me. So that was, yeah, spring 2023.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes during the podcast episodes, I could bring in some of like the psychoeducational kind of information. But in working with teams, I'm going to combine two things: personal well-being and team well-being. If the team is able to focus on a few things and all these things well, then it can really help an individual maintain their own, what we call internal locus of control. And that's a fancy way of saying that I feel like I have more control of my choices and that I'm capable of making the choices that I want, then the world has control of me. And then what happens with a lot of individuals that are in, let's say, pressure, when pressure is added, especially it's mostly external pressure. When external pressure is added, and we feel like we're losing a little bit of that touch with that internal locus of control, the body starts getting confused and starts getting insecure. And so what can end up happening with, you're saying with the twisties, but it can happen in any kind of sport. It can happen with individuals, it can happen with pilots in the air, it can happen with anybody, right? Where we start feeling more insecure in that space of that self-trust, and then becomes more external locus of the control. So then the world and these people and all these different expectations, they tend to feel like there's this pressure and that it has more control of me than I have of anything else. And so with teams, what often gets overly focused, accountability and motivation. And sometimes everything comes back down to over and over again, like accountability, and I need to be motivated, and I need to be accountable, and I need to be motivated. And it's like, I'm just pushing and I'll figure it out. If I just keep doing it 100,000, 200,000 times, I'll get there. And our body thinks, oh, like this is me doing it. It's like, no, this is me feeling like, what am I if I don't do it? Who am I if I don't do it? Where is my authenticity? Where is it that I exist as a person if it isn't for this score? And I know, like, even with like Simone Biles, when she was going through the Olympics and she was describing things as you are describing even now, that it's like, I feel like what happens to me if I don't do this thing? And I am so capable, but I feel so incapable because of that external locus. So the missing pieces often are psychological safety. And psychological safety is our ability in groups and also within ourselves to feel like we can navigate the truth of our experience, and that other person or other people around us can take that truth, believe it, and we can work with that truth. But when we feel like we're up against other people's opinions, we can get lost in that. We get lost in the opinion. It's like, well, they won't understand. They won't hear me. They won't believe me. They'll tell me I'm capable of doing something else. They'll invalidate me. They'll say that, you'll be fine, or you just do this thing, or just take a weekend and you'll come back. It's like, well, what if I don't? They won't understand. They won't understand. They won't understand. So do I understand? Do I understand myself? Do I understand what I'm going through? Can I listen to my emotions, my physical sensations, my thoughts and my experiences, and listen to what they have to say and trust myself to navigate? So like all this self-trust, it sounds like you just kind of like had in growing up, and the fun and the playfulness and the experimentation of just enjoying the challenge and the growth that comes from that is such a beautiful thing. But that comes from a place of psychological safety within yourself and the supports that are not maybe like overly pushing you. And I'm not blaming anyone in particular. I'm just saying, like, these are things that happen in the 21st century in team dynamics. The other component when it comes to psychological safety is trust. So I need to be able to trust myself first and foremost. And when that trust is chipped away, it's an Achilles heel. I need that trust, because what happens when someone cuts that Achilles heel? We have a word for that for a reason. Whole Greek mythology there for a reason. Whether it's your shoulder, or if it's like the sense of confidence, or it's I'm not hitting these numbers. Trust and psychological safety are also parts of the holistic endeavor when it comes to ourselves and other people, along with accountability and motivation. But it can't just be those things.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like kind of, I think for a long time, as I said, like just went, this is my job now and it's what I do. And the way I got to Tokyo and the way I was taught, and you do get the payoff in saying, okay, I'm gonna do it even though I don't feel like it. I'm going to go against my instincts because I know if I practice this, then I'll get the outcome. And I think short term, yeah, play into that. Like that's kind of being an athlete, is doing it when you don't feel like it. But I think there's a difference between riding the waves of your intuition and, like you say, trust is a massive thing. And if you're on a BMX bike 10, 20 feet in the air, if you don't trust your body to like, and your body and your mind to stay calm and be in control, then it's bloody terrifying, even if you're just doing nothing. And yeah, when I hit that breaking point, I lost control like of my body and my mind. Like I could no longer push my body into doing these things because I guess subconsciously I was just like, no, like I'm sick of doing these things. Why are you pushing me into doing these things? It's not what I want to do. And yeah, I listened to Simone Biles and her podcasts, and I watched the series, and everything she said like totally related to me. And it's so hard for people to understand and for people to support. Like I've got the most amazing support crew around me. Like my fiance is amazing, my best friends, my coach and his wife. Like so many people have helped me get through it. But it's so difficult because I know my friends and everyone just want to help. And especially at the time, like I felt so embarrassed and shameful that I couldn't do the tricks I am like known for doing. It's my identity that I couldn't even go to the skate park for, I think it was at least a month or two. I couldn't go to the skate park because I was so scared of what my own friends would like think of me. And that's like such a shit place to be. So I'm glad that's well in the past, and I've learned a hell of a lot from it and had a lot of psychological help too, on getting there. And so to go from not being able to even walk into a skate park, being too scared and anxious to do that, to then actually performing, albeit not my best performance, but being able to perform at Paris on the world stage at the Olympics, it really was a huge achievement. And it's hard for people to see, and it's hard for me to even celebrate it because I know what I'm capable of and I know how hard the journey was. But yeah, I did achieve like so much with the help of others and went through a really difficult period, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. But like that growth there. Not that we ever want to go through difficult experiences because for the sake of getting something good at the end. And at the same time, failure, that word gets such a like ugly. People hate the word failure. I love the word failure. I now do. I now love the word failure because I have a new relationship with the word failure. So
Yeah.
like I know that there's a growth that comes there. And I think for me, creativity and playfulness and humor has been so massive for me, like just finding the humor in situations and using that to like lighten my body, lighten the mood, and be like, okay, well, what can I do with this? Like I didn't want this, and nevertheless here it is. So now what? And now I can focus my attention back on the next thing and trying to do it just like more present, like mindfully aware and just allowing. So for you, where is it that you find that you're going through the highs and these lows and connecting to your authenticity? How has that helped you in your journey to maybe have fun again or playfulness or whatever have you? Can you discuss that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that was entirely like the recovery. I tried some EMDR therapy, which is the rapid eye movement therapy, and I think it helped get over some really significant, I guess, it's I guess a traumatic thing. I guess it helped me get over some significant things that were like in my mind. But I think the general recovery was really stripping everything back, starting really small. I worked with a psychologist called Kate Hayes, and she helps me she helped me keep perspective on things. So we'd kind of check in, and I'd set goals with tricks, but also goals with the process and sort of having fun. And if for me, like then it helps you redefine success too. So for me at that time, like success was going to the skate park and feeling comfortable, and it would kind of grow to like, can I actually get into it again? And like, it helps you open your mind and say, whatever it is, like whether it's riding a really small 1 foot ramp, or whether it's riding like the biggest ramps there, can I get lost in it and get in flow and get that feeling? And that's what like I lost so much with breaking down, was I could not switch my brain off. I'd constantly be thinking like this wasn't good enough. What did they think of that? And just like external outside of my body. So like any time I could actually get into the flow of it and sort of forget myself, that was like a huge win. And that actually started going to like outdoor skate parks where I wouldn't usually train at, and it kind of takes it right back to where I began, sorry, with riding scooters. It was at an outdoor skate park. It was probably on my own because I just don't mind being on my own sometimes, and it was my escape and place that I could go, and it was like my thing. I said I hate team sports. I like it being my own thing that I've got full control over. So being part of a team was such a struggle, to have other people poking in and measuring things, and then being put with teammates, like not out of choice. So yeah, it really took it back to there, and it was focusing on enjoyment, and it was hard because you really can't measure that. Like only you can measure it inside of saying like, okay, I kind of, maybe I enjoyed doing this today, but I didn't do the 10 usual tricks that I usually train, and like there I'm going to fall behind, and then I've got this competition, and it's really hard to focus on the positive. So I was very grateful to have my fiance like always reminding me to look at the positives, and it's very hard to let go of the outcomes. And I think the position I was in was I was the reigning Olympic champion at the time, who could barely do any of the tricks that I could before. And it was like, I felt like there was going to be so much shame if I didn't make it to Paris and like someone else went instead of me. And so I just had this huge looming thing over me. And then even if I went to Paris, it was like, well, what about the performance? Like, do you have to come first again, or does it matter? So it's hard to define your own wins, and like celebrate those successes. But that's really where I had to focus. And I'm still doing that now. Like I've enjoyed riding a lot more post Paris, and like into this year since, because I've kind of let a lot of that go and just let it flow, and trust in myself and my instincts a lot more, and ride in the waves of, well, doing it like this feels good today, like, or like doing loads of tricks and really pushing myself. Yeah, I feel like that today. Let's take advantage and let's do it. And then the next day I go in and I'm like, I can't even do one trick today. I just like, but I'll find a way to get back into it. I'll just like flow around the ramps and just feel the bike and get lost in the moment. And that's kind of all I ever really did it for. So whenever I keep returning to that, it kind of keeps overall happiness at like a lot better. You learn to trust yourself a lot more, and that's kind of the journey I'm on with my bike right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen any of those like Karate Kid like montages or anything like that, but
Yeah,
I think any like 80s or 90 movies montage has, hey, this is the thing that you have to do. I think even Cars the movie has
Cars
like
is a
a
great movie.
sequence. Yeah, we know in this household more of my husband than my son. He doesn't ever want to watch it, but my husband says it as a joke. But anyway, so Cars has like this scene where he had to get out of his head. He goes into the dirt paths, and any like montage sequence when there's like an athlete involved is like go out in nature and play and
Yeah,
explore.
be a
And I
million
don't
miles from
even,
anyone and just do
yeah,
anything that you feel like, or yeah.
yeah. But just like getting into the playfulness again, because I think when people are experts in something, the only thing that really gets in the way of that expertise is you telling yourself you're not an expert. And that mind body connection is like when we can be in our body and get that back into those like atmospheres of like, I'm going to go play in the dirt a little bit and just see what happens. Or I'm going to, maybe you scoot around on your scooter or something and you just kind of enjoy doing that.
There's various times I picked up my scooter or even a skateboard because I love the feeling of riding the ramps and just getting lost in it. And when I could do that, it would help turn, like, especially then, it would help turn my brain off. And at that point, that was just a relief. I'd be like, oh my God, my brain switched off. I stopped worrying about something for 5 minutes. So that was like that again was a huge part of just getting back into the flow of things.
to kind of like connect even to like that inner strength for yourself? How do you find that you're tapping back into that trust and that safety within yourself and exploring your personal strength and navigating your day to day to help you just do whatever the future is? It's like, can I just allow that to be an open book? Like, I generally know that these are things that I'm going to be doing. These are competitions that I'm going to be doing. And can I see what happens if I just trust myself and go down to basics? Do you find like you're finding that inner strength again?
Yeah, I feel like I'm finding it. But like we've been had such a big change of lifestyle. We've got some really great neighbors who are really supportive, and moving over here, Matt came over. He's finding a bunch of new things to do, and that's really exciting. And I think it's like that as well is inspiring, and it's helped open both our minds up to just like what else could be out there, and kind of just being able to accept and the uncontrollable and just say like we can't control what'll happen. Like maybe if you take the leap of faith and leave British cycling, then things will be okay. And it's like trusting it. Or maybe you take the leap of faith and go all in on like I'm just gonna ride really hard and go all the way to LA. Again, like it's very hard to make the decision and to trust. But I think just being out here and being very separated from it all, because I'm not American, I'm not on Team USA, I'm not surrounded by the UK athletes day in, day out. I've since been back to England and been in that environment again, and it's very easy to get snapped back into like that kind of routine of just we come in, we take the boxes, we leave, we take the boxes, and that doesn't really light me up. So being out here, it's really helped strip it away even more. So I feel very independent, and I've had a lot of freedom to explore new avenues, and it's definitely opened my mind. So the decision's not made yet, but it's nice to kind of think out loud about different ideas.
And you're just following it, just
Hmm.
following that path. It's like, we'll see what comes around the bend. And for now, I just feel like I'm trusting myself and I have this authentic connection with myself to just see what comes.
Yeah, that's how I got here in the first place, and that's what I keep coming
Mhm.
back to is like I quit my secure, steady income from working full time in a kitchen to go ride my bike because I wasn't scared to quit a shitty job because I don't want to stay there for a paycheck, and I don't want to feel the same way about riding my bike. I don't want to feel like I'm just doing this for a paycheck. Like I want to feel passionate about it and excited to go do it and feel excited for the future and what could come and not feel like I'm going through the motions over and over again. So
Yeah,
it just becomes
absolutely.
a job, and it's like it was a hobby that like I really love and I don't want to lose that. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all that.
Pausing the episode for just a moment, if today's conversation is resonating with you, you can go deeper inside the Fundamentals Life, Relationships, and Career Accelerator, my start to finish, science backed course on the essential skills of human flourishing. The course is self paced, structured, practical, and designed to help you build a strong foundation so you can truly thrive across life, relationships, and work. You can join completely free for 14 days. Watch, listen, and learn in whatever ways work best for you and your life. No commitment, cancel anytime. Head to knowyourfundamentals.com or check the link in the show notes. All right, let's get back to the episode.
So, what are your fundamentals that you'd like to share that might help individuals that are listening? If they feel a little lost on their path, what would you say to them?
I think my top three sort of things that I would just recommend to anyone who's trying to live wholeheartedly and holistically would be self study, ego, and self talk. And to expand on them, it's pretty much self study, like know thyself sounds really cheesy, but it's actually so true in every way. Like learn how to work with yourself and not against yourself, and without judgment either, just being objective and just saying, okay, when I wake up in the morning, I'm so not a morning person and I'm going to want to sleep in and not make time to go to the gym. It's like, okay, work with yourself. What's going to make it easier to do that in the morning? Like maybe lay out the clothes, maybe have the coffee ready in the machine to go, etc. And it goes for environment too. Like what's like if I'm in an environment with some really challenging people that I don't like, it like does it make me shut down and shrink into myself and feel underconfident. Well, okay, like prepare for that, or avoid that environment if it's going to be best for you. These are all things that I learned on like my journey of becoming my best self for an athlete. Ego is one I definitely was working with a lot more post Tokyo and kind of going to Paris. And I think for anyone, I would recommend, like, please don't be scared to be an amateur at something, to be bad at something. Like, please, it could hold you back so much. No one's gonna judge you for going out for painting a picture and it looking bad. If 100 pictures down the lane, it looks amazing. Don't be afraid to be an amateur at something, to ask for help. Don't be afraid to quit your job and go follow your heart. Don't be afraid to like start a relationship with someone. You don't realize how much ego can like hinder you in certain areas. And then self-talk and sort of self-belief and manifestation, like totally believe it. And it's a practice that's ongoing. I've Self-talk was something, and self-belief was something I built up to Tokyo. And I definitely, I felt myself going at tricks on my bike where usually I'd say, oh, this is not going to be great, I'm scared, to like switching my self-talk to saying, no, this is going to be the best one yet. And that can just apply to everything you try in life and day-to-day life, not shooting yourself down too much, because I'm honestly, that's one of my weakest spots, is like self-talk. So it's been something I've really practiced. And yeah, in the rebuild of myself, it was one of the prime highlights of things that I had to do, was kind of really practice loving myself and accepting myself and not being super judgmental, because otherwise I just couldn't get any better. I couldn't move forward. So they would be like my top 3 highlights for people to try and work on or research, and just have in the back of your mind.
Yeah. And so I might share a little bit with that too, that there's a lot of different ways to be practicing the things that you're talking about. Some of that non judgmental awareness we can call mindfulness. So, mindfulness is being able to be attentive and aware in the present moment, non judgmentally, without getting carried away by anything. And so that's a lot to unpack, but attention is like a camera lens. You're deciding where to look at where your mind is. And then awareness is that, hey, you're actually aware that you're looking at whatever that thing is. So whether it's a bird or a leaf, it's like you're being present with it. So attention and awareness, they sound like the same thing, but they're different. I can be attentive to something, but be multitasking or not fully present. So when we're trying to be aware of like ourselves and aware of what our mind is doing, our emotions are doing, our self-talk, even that sense of ego, the core of that is even like fear. What am I afraid of when it comes to harm to my physical body, or harm to my emotions, or harm to my relationships, or harm to my self-actualization and autonomy? The body's concerned about all of those things all the time, past,
And
present, and future.
your belief is going to validate you. Whatever you decide to believe is going to be true. If you think this is going to be harmful, then belief is going to validate that. Or if you believe, well, I'm going to come out of this a better person for it and I'm going to be fine, then that's probably going to be the case.
Absolutely. So being able to observe where your mind is non-judgmentally helps you not get carried away by faulty or unhealthy or unhelpful and untrue belief systems. So we have this kind of saying of like the self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe something to be true, for better or worse, it is much more likely that you're going to act on whatever that belief is, even if it's not true. So we can't predict the future that, hey, well, I know that I'm going to be painting the next Mona Lisa. Okay. And it increases the likelihood that you're going to practice and you're going to paint and you're going to spend more time painting and you're going to enjoy it because you're conveying, hey, like, I want to do this. That's important to me. Cool. Follow that. And so it's like, well, okay, Chaz and Kelly, what if I just don't? Okay, fake it till you make it. So added those thoughts and into your mind. Write them down on walls, hang them up on your mirrors and in your bathroom, right? Like,
Yeah, I did that
have,
before Tokyo.
yeah,
I had gold Tokyo 2020 written on my fridge, my refrigerator at home. I saw it every single day. And that's the whole There's saying, "Oh, I'll believe it when I see it," but actually you'll see it when you believe it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so like even having that on your fridge and then if you walked up to it and you said like, nope, not going to happen. That's not helpful. To have the reminder and practice directing our attention where you want it to be. And what I always like to tell people too is that you can't stop those initial thoughts from happening. We
Yeah.
can't stop initial thoughts, judgments, insecurities, fear, even like those butterflies, like you can't stop those things from first popping up. All you get to do is be aware of them, notice them non-judgmentally, and choose what to do next. So
Yeah.
my mantra is awareness, acceptance, choice. Over and over and over again. If you can be aware, accept the reality for what it is, and then trust yourself to make healthy and gainful choices, you're going to be okay more often than not.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's something I've like struggled with in the past. Like managing my emotions was like something I definitely learned, and I learned techniques like breathing awareness. And there was a great book that I learned that when I was first becoming aware and practicing awareness of my emotions in the competitive world and riding my bike. The book was called The Mindful Athlete. Again, it goes across from sport to life, can totally apply. But that was great for me, just becoming aware of, okay, I'm feeling this. Okay, why? It's because of this person or because that just happened. Okay, like just take a couple breaths, like see it objectively, and then you kind of get back in your zone. And there's various techniques. I I think after Tokyo, I tricked myself into thinking I had control over everything. So it like if I did well at a competition, it was because I had total control. And if I didn't do well at a competition, it was completely my fault because I had total control. So I definitely kind of forgot that, and I thought I could control my emotions, and if it went wrong, it was all my fault. But I kind of had to realize like you don't control everything. Even if you do control your decisions and your responses and things, like you say, you don't control that initial, oh my God, I'm so scared, or oh, I just want to cry right now because it's like too much and I'm too stressed. That's going to come up. And I kind of forgot that I would shame myself for being like, why do you feel like that? You can't feel like that. Like, you're this person. You're not supposed to feel that. You're supposed to feel like this. But when you can actually kind of, I found when I could accept it a bit more and just be like, okay, I feel like crying right now. Yeah, cool. And it's just a bit more like, yeah. And you kind of let
Yeah.
it go a little bit. You're able to sort of let it go and move on, hopefully. Or maybe you just go cry for 5 minutes and then you're like, okay, it's out of my system. Let's carry on with the day.
Yeah, balance is the name of the game. We are mostly reactive and we get to sometimes be proactive. And if we can just recognize that, especially like if you think about the times that you were tired or you're recovering from your surgery, it's like, oh, wow, like I feel even more intense emotions, or I feel even like I have harder thoughts that are coming up. It's like, yeah, those things, illness, anything, feeling like we're moving or transitioning, that adds stress to the body and it ends up kind of like pouring out these other kind of thoughts. And for like what's wrong with me, it's like nothing. That is a part of your human condition. All you can do that's going to help you is just not judge it and
Yeah.
then trust yourself again that next moment just to see what happens from there. Kobe Bryant and I think LeBron James, they do well. Kobe is no longer obviously with us, but a lot of what he communicated regarding mindfulness and just being present in sports and his athleticism in his life, you could hear in his voice that he just like understood things like to like the core of his physical being.
The basketball athletes seem to all be a great representation of
Mhm.
being in flow and meditation. And I recommended The Mindful Athlete. It was the revelation from Chicago Bulls and things. And yeah, Kobe was also just incredible at that as well.
Yeah, yeah. So if any athletes are kind of interested, like, oh, let me learn more about mindfulness, start with the things that were happening with the Bulls and listen to
Hmm.
Kobe. Watch LeBron. They have probably have so many clips of LeBron meditating on the side of a basketball court, but don't feel like you're alone and like this is just, oh, well, this is new age. It's like, no, it's not. It's been around for thousands
No,
of years.
that's why that book
Athletes
was
have been
so
using it for such
great.
a long time.
Yeah, that book was so great for introducing me to it because it did it so simply. It spoke about Michael Jordan and his relationship with meditation, and it's not about being wishy-washy. I'm totally zen and calm. It's about, like what we've been saying, being objective. Basketball is such a great example because it's such a fast sport that the game can turn around in like 3 plays.
Yeah.
It's so quick that if you carry that on, like, oh, what just happened? We just went 6 points down. If you kind of hold on to that and carry it on, then yeah, before you know it, you're holding all this emotional weight, and you need to be fast on your feet and just not, like, one of the metaphors he uses is like not looking at the scoreboard. There's various things. I would highly recommend that book to any young athlete starting out, or anyone on a professional journey that's not really considered mindfulness before but is interested. Yeah, I would highly recommend The Mindful Athlete.
Yeah, thanks for that recommendation, Chaz. So, what is a quote that you'd like to end with today?
I did write down like the Serenity Prayer, but what I actually said earlier was probably one of the first mantras that really helped me, I think, become me from like being a teenager when you kind of going through adolescence and discovering yourself. And that was Gandhi, like be the change you want to see. And that really came about in my life when I was starting riding scooters, and I found I kind of had some mentors and I was deciding what kind of person I wanted to be. It totally embodies making your own decision and following your own heart, and how you treat other people and things like that. So be the change that you want to see in the world.
Thank you for that. And thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Get more life, relationships, and career fundamentals when you follow at Know Your Fundamentals on social media. And check out knowyourfundamentals.com for the podcast, blog, fundamentals course, coaching, and to connect with me. Remember, you're the expert on you. Seize the day and thrive your way.